Yes, people, hopefully everyone is doing well because Darren Fletcher is going to be the interim of Manchester United. We just don't know for how long. But I don't know how long I'm going to keep going because I've got this Man United buzz and I don't really want to get let down. Not again, all the giddiness, getting excited. But there's no need to not be positive about all of this because, well, for someone who did enjoy watching some under 18 games whenever they were available, I mean, surely you can pick up a few tactics and do your own research. So that's exactly what I did. And I've kind of seen what Darren Fletcher may implement. Maybe not so much against Burnley, but maybe against Brighton, we might get a better insight. Even against Manchester City, which would be a little bit more difficult to see what he might be capable of doing before there might be another approach for another interim manager. So if anyone's interested, smash a like, subscribe if you're brand new. I might be somebody that you haven't come across before, so it'd be good. There's some live shows going on now and hopefully some daily video uploads as well. But I'm going to be deep diving via a tactics board for what I think Darren Fletcher is going to do in this Manchester United side, because he is someone that values youth and he's someone that speaks very highly of, the good old DNA of Manchester United, the good old ways of playing. And there's many references of talking about him showing the youngsters about Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo, Ji-sung Park. So you can have an idea of his whole tactical kind of outlook or his approach to games. But there's also a modern twist as well, with his own ideas, with the modern things of the old kind of style Pep Guardiola's and da-da-da-da-da. You can't just think that you can just attack in the old ways and think you're going to get away with it. But United do have some good key players that may suit this, in my very opinion, which we can definitely get down to. And I do have my selection as well of what I'd go with at the moment, but I'm going to change a couple things. I don't want to give away too much. So if we go straight dive into the whole scene of this all, this is where I've gotten to, is this. Hopefully you lot can see it. It's all labeled as well. It should be big enough. As you can see, I've got Larman's. This is what I would overall go with Man United's maybe best front or best 11, right? But the way he's going to want to play is through one major player. And for me, it's kind of from what I've been reading up anyways, and this is me getting used to the board as well, is through this player right there. The number 6. The number 6 is the one that has total control. And Casemiro doesn't exactly fit what Darren Fletcher would like, but we might see him in that kind of role for the time being just because of what's available. And if, Darren Fletcher's all about his youth, then he would get kind of used to that. We're going to go through this kind of half pitch at the moment. Doesn't it? If you can see a few Burnley players, that's great. They play a 5-4-1. But I've gone with a Heaven to partner De Ligt. But we might even see the likes of, Martinez. Some of you might scream, no, surely we get Martinez in there. But there's options for this, Whether you've got Delo at fullback here, or you got the likes of Dorgu that might fill in left back at sometimes right there as well. It could even be the likes of, the logo in over there. You got, Euro as an option that can fill in for De Ligt. You've got a lot of options at the moment. And, even if you look at the false 9 that he does like to approach to give it away a little bit, you got Xerxes, you still got Sesco's that can play in those sort of roles. Even on the right-hand side, you got Cher Lacey's, and Bumo can go over there. Mason Mount can come into the midfield to substitute for maybe Fernandes. So there are many different players that he's got at his disposal that I think would suit, for me anyways, would suit this side. But it's a particular player. So if you do agree with this 11, it's up to you. It is a particular player that I'm quite interested in seeing if he brings to the fold. We always talk about, Fletcher's going to bring in his youth. He's going to bring in his boys, his twins and stuff, blah, 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 blah. I don't really see that because the way he likes to play is someone who's going to control via this player in the middle, obviously, as the 6 is highlighted. But also, he does like also the false 9 area as well. So this area here in these central areas is going to be the reason why United may gain more control. From what I can see, he deploys a 4-3-3, likes 2-8, sometimes looks like a 4-2-3-1 when defending. His out wide play is pretty much is exactly what we like as well. Very direct. So I can imagine it really being someone like Diallo, someone like Mbumo. And from there, I do see where, again, what he could technically bring in terms of utilizing the players to the best of their capabilities. So from there, so the player I'm thinking about, it is a youngster. Because if you're all about the youth and promoting youth, especially if there's not many options, I don't know if he's going to stick him in the deep end straight away. So this is going to be an interesting little pick. But if anyone knows the name, right, I'm going to pick him up right now if it allows me to, since I'm still getting used to all of this. I don't know why it's giving me arrows. I couldn't care less about the arrows anymore. Jim Thwaite. Now, I'm going to get rid of Casemiro for now. See, if anyone knows anything about this player right there, Jim Thwaite, he is, again, for me, phenomenal, right? He is a player that I think is physically capable, who can also play in a 6 where Fernandes or Kobe Mainu's name is. And also, it's because he's got this knack of being, not only is he press resistant, but that ball to just switch over, whether it's to Diallo or whether it might be Mbumo over there, or even where Cunha wants to kind of just drop deep, for instance, right? If he comes into this area, he's also just got that quick little line where he's like, I'm going to pop it in straight into your feet. And I think Jim Thwaites is one of those that United have been, I'm going to say, going to be lacking for about 10 years, maybe more. You know, we need to be really focused on the midfield, and it's just something that we keep denying ourselves as, you know, as United fans, you know, and it's just, I don't know why this is such an area that is so neglected. But one thing that I'm going to, again, I'm interested to see how he's going to deploy if he does it straight away is he also likes to have his fullbacks tuck in, right? So if his fullbacks are going to tuck in, let's just say for now it's going to be Shaw Mazraoui. It could even be someone like Delo who's suited to that role, right? It's going to be kind of interesting to see if he does go with that or he goes more of a traditional 4-4-2 for the time being. Because the way I'm kind of viewing things at the moment is United lack a lot of control. If you want to get them up the pitch a little bit as well, I do wonder if he's going to have the players to do that in terms of on the left-hand side, because Dorgu's not going to suit that. And I'm not saying he's going to be the permanent manager either, because he's not. But you're going to need someone like Thwaites in the middle of the park that's going to dictate this play, because, well, Mainu can't do that. He hasn't got the capabilities of putting the ball left and right as much. You look at it on the bench as well, and you think, oh, wait, hold on. Maybe Martinez could go in there. He's been known to have that game against Villa that everyone appreciates to get the ball forward. Maybe it could be even Aiden Heaven where they switch around and someone that he could, you know, utilize a little bit more in that area, who's been, as a centre-back, is in a top percentile of successful switches of play as a centre-back, even though his average is super down because he hasn't played a lot of games. But if United are going to go down this route of 2 inverted fullbacks to help out the middle of the park while having 2 very progressive centre-backs as well, he might not look at De Ligt. He might look at someone like Harry Maguire instead, or Aiden Heaven, as we've seen both 2 left-footers at the moment, because since De Ligt's out, he might even find that Aiden Heaven or Yoro with Martinez might be the suitable candidates going forward to play those balls going forward as well. Because as you've seen, Martinez is, well, he is very, very good at getting the ball from over there, you know, or even Aiden Heaven with the switches over here. And that just brings, for me, a lot to our play or game of football that we just lack. And we've seen it in a few times of build-up. And I think the more important part for me in this game is getting these 2 more involved, especially is these 2. Bruno Fernandes and Mainu. Now, one thing I think we've been lacking is that sort of controller in what Mainu can definitely offer. But in terms of Bruno Fernandes, no one's trying to see this man in the 8 anymore. I think he's so wasted there. And you know what? Missing him for a few games and someone who does give him a lot of stick, I'm not going to lie, people. I think I'm starting to miss the guy because of what he does bring. You know, we need this guy further up in terms of Bruno, in terms of where Cunha is. And even Kobe Mainu, we can see what he's about when it comes to those sort of areas as well. If Cunha decides, okay, cool, I'm going to drop deep, like, and we're going to create this box 4 that's going to control a bit more. When you've got players like Mbumo or Ahmad, you don't want them anywhere really dropping deep into these areas that we absolutely hate. Why we don't want to see Ahmad here? We don't want to be seeing Mbumo over here or vice versa. It's a waste. We need to see them into the attacking areas where they get most of their joy and most of their goals. Even like to Bruno Fernandes, if Cunha drops deep one time, you want to see this man, again, making those forward runs. Kobe Mainu as well, who can definitely drop deep and maybe change with Jim Thwaites at times. And I don't see how Casemiro comes into his control, but he's going to have a big part to play. You know, this is a player that's coming to an end. And if you need experience of legs, you don't want to be replacing centre-backs with centre-backs. You want to be bringing on your Casemiros to shut out games and make sure there's some total closure in terms of winning that game 1-0 or 2-0. And this is where I feel like maybe Joshua Zirkzee has one last lifeline to showcase why he should be at Man United. Because one thing I've clocked with Joshua Zirkzee in a lot of these reports, right, is that he does not want to be the guy that leaves Manchester United and be deemed as a failure, right? It's not there. And I do wonder if sometimes we might even see where we've got options and you want to bring on your best players to play with one another. But in terms of the likes of Cunha, if you wanted someone that's going to just do that diagonal, you know, over here going in this sort of region, you could even have Cunha in there, drop him to the bench, and and I know Sesko is going to have to play at some point, right? But who says that Xerxes can't do that thing that he loves so much in terms of false nine? So the likes of Cunha can run, Diallo can run, and occupy those kind of central areas, meaning that Fernandes, once again, has a bit more of a freedom to invade these spaces that he loves. You know, and his range of vision as well going forward. If you got a Diallo kind of just running into that pocket to pick up the ball while Cunha decides he wants to dart, you know he's going to pick that up and he's going to find it. And in the end, we're going to get more goals and getting these players. And you look at the likes of Euro as well. I know he's like, what are you going to do with Euro? You paid 60 million with him. He's going to get a lot of time, you know, for me. He's going to get opportunity. He needs to be behind someone like De Ligt and learn and not be in the spotlight so much. Same thing goes with Heaven. And I think we got 4 centre-backs there, plus Maguire, who may utilise and see this system as a benefit to their game going forward as well. When we've got Dalot, whose best attributes are inverted as well. Not as good as Mazraoui, but whether he's on the left or right, is a good player in terms of build-up, but everything else, he's very average, right? And even Luke Shaw, someone who's shouldn't really be at this club, but he's having a good season and can do a bit of everything. Now, it's the Dorgu part that might be utilised more on the right, but I want to see the likes of Shea Lacey come into the fold. I want to see United go back to their principles of DNA through a lot of these young players, but we need to promote youth no matter what. For me, youth is the most important part about United's heritage, and it's not something we should strive away from just because Ruben Amorim said so. Now, it's unfortunate that he's gone, but let's be real. There's so many games I've thought about that players need to hold accountability, but in terms of points that we're where we should be at least on 43 points minimum, especially from games that we've dropped recently to teams that are bottom of the table, whether it's Nottingham Forest, West Ham, not so much Everton's, but Wolves, Leeds. These are games that we should be winning, collecting points. No, this is inexcusable. And I think with Darren Fletcher, at least, to showcase a little bit, might give us a glimpse of back for Manchester United, a little bit more solidarity and utilising these players to the best of abilities. Now, what we're going to find against Burnley is completely different because there's a different selection of players, not the likes of Ahmad and Mbumo. Unless Ahmad gets knocked out, who knows? Bruno might be back. We'll do that as a video maybe tomorrow or as a live show as well. There's much more to kind of get towards and get given when in terms of knowledge of, I don't know who's going to take the presser to give us this information if we're going to get the green light, because we need a Bruno Fernandes in there. But players got to start stepping up. We got to start getting the better out of these players as well and looking at a vision where it's not so much of a cycle all the time. Don't let all these rivals gaslight us into thinking that we've done something wrong. You know, Ineos have to take blame on this because this has just been a waste of time for me. Personally, I think the squad's got better, but overall it's not really seen as something that's progressive because of stubbornness. But people smash the likes. Hopefully you like the video, something a little different. Trying to get more uploads. And then, yeah. Hopefully we get some wins on the bounce because it's been a long time. I mean, Burnley, Brighton, then Man City, then Arsenal away. I mean, getting those wins on the bounce, it would be tremendous. But anyways, people, remember Jim Thwaites hopefully gets the nod in a bit.